only time I've ever seen a work of art to which I was taken aback and said, "That is beautiful. That is so beautiful." The only time I've heard myself saying those words is when I was walking out in nature and I came across maybe the sun shining across the leaves, or maybe I was out in the desert and I saw the sun rising and glistening off of a plateau or Joshua Tree. Or maybe it was the morning I woke up in New Smyrna Beach and I walked down to the water to watch the sun rise, and when it did, it was just beautiful. Or like this picture, which is inspired by a local place here near the Rainbow River. Robin and I walked there. It's not too long ago, but it feels like a very long time ago. We need to walk more. But I remember just being so overwhelmed by the beauty that was around me. God's art. The art of God. So as an artist or an illustrator or whatever I call myself, all I can really do is try to duplicate, replicate, represent. The best I can do is try to represent the beauty that God has already made. It's His art. It's not my art. He is the artist. I'm just the copycat. That's what I am. I'm a copycat. I copy as best as I can the art that God has given all of us. It's right outside your door. You know, Robin is a good photographer, a great photographer. One of the things I admire about her photography is she can go out into the alleyways of the dingiest part of the city where there's a garbage can overflowing with garbage, where it smells like you want to get out of there as quick as you can. And she'll find a way to photograph that and make it art. Her photograph becomes art. Yes, she can take a photo of a garbage pail and make it look like art. I'm going to try to do that one day, not with photography. I'll try to do that with painting. Yeah, maybe I can copycat Robin. All right, but for now, let me show you how I painted this one. This is card number 192 of 200 cards that I've donated to the church for their art auction. Okay? Let me show you how I painted this right now. Good morning. It's time to do something more summery, more green. Had a lot of fun doing all the snowy scenes. I think I'm ready to do a little bit of green. I mean, after all, I live in Florida, right? So it makes sense to keep it a little bit green. But I'm not going to do like a typical Florida picture. No, I'm going to do, I don't know, just there was a verse from the Bible that I looked at earlier, and it was about having hope. I'm not a great person to quote the Bible or to, I don't do it. I'm not good at quoting directly. I'm not good at that. But I know the gist of what is trying to be said in the Bible. I know the gist of it. So, anyway, what that has to do with this is just to hope. The idea that there's light at the end of the tunnel, that there's hope for tomorrow. And I hope that you feel hope. I hope that you feel hope. I hope you feel hopeful. I mean, after all, It's maybe not a Christmas card in the traditional sense today. But isn't that what Christmas is about? It's about hope. It's about learning that we're not really in control, that God is in control. And we can do our best to make through each day. And the best thing we can do is to have faith. The best thing we can do is to have faith and to help each other. I saw this video and it showed people getting angry at other people. And then in like the next scene it shows those same people, the people who were being mocked or the people who were being yelled at. And it showed what they were going through. They were going through hard times. And so when we lose patience with somebody or decide that somehow we need to give them a piece of our mind, sometimes we gotta think twice. I know you know. I know you know. You know what I know? I think I know this. I have a feeling about artists in general. Artists are kind of a different breed. You know, I call myself an illustrator more than an artist, but I think this applies to me too. That we kind of look at the world a little differently, maybe, than a lot of people. In that we I don't know, maybe we see the real person. It's just like a dog can smell the real person. Did you ever hear that? A dog knows if you're a good person. Oh my gosh, I watched a fun video. Oh my gosh, I gotta tell you about this. Alright, this is a YouTuber. And he goes by the name of The Daily Woo, W-O-O. And his name is Adam. And I watch his videos a lot because he's so fun. He's from here in Florida, not too far. In fact, I have walked in some of the same places he's walked in, and it's very cool to watch him. But he's so fun. Anyway, he went to Alaska, and he did one of those dog sled things. Oh my gosh, you gotta see it. It's so much fun. The dogs are so they're barking, they're wild, they can't wait to go running. They just love running. So if you get a chance, look at that. Just check it out. Adam the Woo. Adam the Woo, that's what he calls himself. But I think his channel is called The Daily Woo. I think that's what it is. I think he's got 2 channels, but I think the one I look at is The Daily Woo. I don't know. Anyway, it's fun. The dogs, he goes on the sled. Yeah, you know, that's how little I know. I don't know the difference between a sleigh and a sled. But it was fun. It's fun to watch. Really fun. Alright, just trying to get some darker colors here. Darker greens. Get some of these greens into the background here. I'm really doing a watercolor thing today. I'm just letting the water do its thing. Yeah, I'm not really. I got another doctor's appointment this morning. Don't panic, nothing big. Just you get old and you go to the doctors a lot. That's what I learned in this lifetime. There's always something. There's always something. No complaints from me though. I am one of the most blessed people you'll know. I don't think a lack of money makes me qualified for not being blessed. I am very blessed. So lots of greens. Look at this this palette right here has so many different shades of green. It's almost like it was made for this picture. Almost like it was made for it. I got some of these darker greens here. Maybe loosen it up a little bit. A little bit there. Yeah, I say this is really a watercolor. This is what watercolor is supposed to be. Just having fun. Just light through the trees. There's one thing I like when I actually walk through the woods, and it is discovering all the things that are in there. Oh my gosh! In the video that I was watching, that I was just telling you about with Adam, so he's on one of these dog sleds, right? And the first part of his ride, he's on the front of the dog sled, and the driver is behind him. The lady who's operating calling the commands to the dogs. I guess that means she's driving. And behind her is another tourist, basically, and he's standing behind her. So Adam sits, the woman driving is behind him standing, and then the guy behind her is standing. Anyway, so she warns them at one point that if they see a moose, just get behind a tree and you'll be safe. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, if you see a moose. And they did mention bears. I guess bears in Alaska, I'm just guessing, bears and moose, they're probably like alligators here in Florida. It's like everybody's afraid of them. And I don't blame you. You should be afraid of them. They don't look like you could win if you got tangled with one. But yeah, so she was warning them about the bears and the moose. Get behind a tree if you see a moose. That was a funny line, and I just could imagine what Adam was thinking. You know. All right, let me try and get a little bit of blue-green here. A little bit closer to the edge here. Some more yellow green back here. It's a very green place here. Keep a little bit of white sticking out here. The good thing about using green is that you can throw in some blue and it kind of helps with the depth of it. You gotta be careful about using black. It could ruin it, but blue seems to work nicely. Just keep dabbing. A little dab will do you. Remember that song? Remember that commercial? A little dab will do you. What? You don't remember it? Oh, you must be young. You must be young. You must be young like I am in my heart. I am young in my heart. So that must be where you are. But maybe you're actually young. I'm just young in my heart. That's what I should tell my grandson. I think so. I think that'll come up in a conversation maybe later this month when we get together for Thanksgiving. Oh, okay. Tell you what I got my son for Christmas. I got him an ocarina. Now, why do you think I got my son an ocarina? Do you know? Okay, you guessed it. I heard somebody say it. Because he likes Zelda, the video game. Yes, you got it. That's exactly right. He likes that game. He's liked that game since he was a little kid. And for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, Zelda is a video game. And one of the games is called the Ocarina of Time or something like that. And I remember he loved that game. I think in the game, the musical instrument called the ocarina is the thing that takes him through time and goes to a different, like in the future and things like that. I think it doesn't matter to me. I can tell you this, that in other words, it does matter to me. I mean, I wanted to get him a gift that would mean something to him. My son loves music. He plays guitar and he plays piano and he's a beautiful singer. And so I'm sure he'll like the ocarina. I just hope he doesn't have one already, because I just have this idea to get him an ocarina. Ocarina is an instrument that I don't know anything about, but I did study it a little bit on YouTube. I looked up, what people were saying about which ones are the good ones and which ones are the cheap ones and which ones have good melody. So I did do my homework when I bought him an ocarina. They're not all the same, that's for sure. But the one I got him was not that expensive. But it does sound good. It arrived like 2 days ago, and I tried it out. It sounds pretty nice. Not that I know much about playing it. I gave it a blow. I blew in it a little bit. All right, do you see what I'm doing here? All right, trying to get that look of the distant. A little bit more, maybe. This is just basically a study in greens and browns. I got to use this now. Some of these edges here. This is where I do use black, because it's already half dry. Just making it a little bit. It's coming together, you see it? Sure. It's starting to look like something. Oh, I love the way it looks already. It's got that look. some of these shadows a little bit more defined. A little bit more defined here. Alright, now most of it seems to be dry. So let's take a thinner brush. Let's see which brush. That might be a little, that one might work for some of these trees. Let's get some of them in there. There we go, there's a tree. Okay, they look good. Let's put some over here in this foreground here a little bit. Try to make it a little bit bigger than that one that I just did. Yeah. There we go. There's another tree. These lights, these little shadows here. And there's one right here, just off the picture. Just to get that light looking like that light is hitting it right there. A distant light. You walk through the woods, there's trees everywhere. Of course, that's why it's called the woods. Wasn't that that was a silly thing for me to say. When you walk through the woods, there's trees everywhere. Oh my gosh. Now there's a quote for old times. The silliest thing to say. When you walk through the snow, there's snow everywhere. When you walk through the lake, there's water everywhere. How many variations of my silly statement can you come up with? When you walk through a store, when you walk through a grocery store, there's food everywhere. When you walk through traffic, there's cars everywhere. Kind of a fun game to play. Come up with different ways to make a silly statement, make an obvious statement. Wasn't there something in Mad magazine where they used to have? I think there was. I think there was something they used to have where people would say the obvious. I'm drawing a blank on that, but I feel like there was something like that. Let's get some thin lines, just some more vertical lines in here. Some more shadows in the woods. I need to get out and walk more. That is my doctor's statement. I need to get out and walk more. So I think part of what I'm going to do to change after I get the 200 cards done for the art auction. This is number 192, by the way. I think what I'll do is I'll do a lot of plein air. I think I'll take the art outside, take a drive and find a few places where it would be fun to just paint. Put another big tree here, I think. There, our trail in the woods is happening. Alright, let's get some more of that brown now. Let's get some more of that dark brown. Put some more light on this road here, this dirt road. Almost done. Just a little bit more darkness down here, I think. What do you think? Let me take the brush and spread out the colors on the back of the card. And I might I might take some art yellow gouache and put a few highlights onto the painting. Just spread this around first and let it dry. Yeah, this is definitely a green theme. The green theme. It is interesting how we go through phases as artists, especially with color choices and palette choices. And then we get tired of them and we go to something else. So, alright, let that sit there. I'm going to try that's called lemon yellow. I'm going to try to just add some yellow to this, just to see. I hope I don't ruin it. Just see if I can maybe accentuate some of these light areas here, because some of these are individual leaves that are picking up the light, distant and near. And it's just reflecting off the edge here. Especially around where the sun is shining through the brightest. Yeah, make that much brighter. A lot of times I'll do this same kind of idea with white, and actually white works perfect with yellow. And in this case I don't want to do that. I'm kind of doing, it's almost like a water, like a acrylic approach right now. I'm laying it on very thick. And it's okay. You know what? Whoever gets this card is going to see that paint and they're going to feel like they can actually see what I did, which they can. It actually does work that way. A few lights over here. See just where these leaves are getting hit by some of this distant sun. And some of the grassy areas also along the path. A little bit more yellow than I did with watercolor. So the gouache is to the rescue. If you're new to the channel, and you may not have heard me say this before, that if you're entering a watercolor into a contest, you got to pay careful attention to the rules, because some watercolor contests don't allow you to mix the media. So what I'm doing right now would disqualify this painting. Not all of them, and in fact I see less and less of that lately. I should share with you guys some of the contests I really don't enter any of them, but I have had so many emails because I'm on some lists, so I get these emails about contests. I need to post them so I can share them with you guys. You might be interested in them. Contests are a good way to get the word out about what you're doing, especially if you're doing this to make money. You know, I looked at the price of cards, that hand painted cards, and they run anywhere from I don't even want to begin to tell you how much money some people pay for hand painted cards. I don't know. I saw over $1,000. I'll put it to you that way for one card. It's like wow. I think the most I ever got for one card was, I was going to say $40, but I did get 60 one time, but I didn't really get it. The church got it. The church sold one of my cards for $60. $60. How come I never get $60 when I sell them? Well, I don't sell them anymore, but I used to. I used to put them on art sites and things like that. And by the way, as long as we're on that topic, let's talk about that for a second. Having your art on an art site doesn't necessarily mean you're going to sell art. And having your art on an art site doesn't necessarily mean that they're doing anything. If it's not selling, it doesn't mean they're doing something wrong. Because if you have a store, if you look at it from a viewpoint of a store, an actual physical store, you will only get customers if the customers know about you. And so whether you have a store or a website, you have to advertise. And the best way to advertise is to find the avenues that people who might buy art are using. What I mean by that is, let's say you had a restaurant in your local town. Well, why would you buy an ad on a TV show that's national? Just buy an ad on a local TV station or a local radio station or wherever you think. What I will caution you about, and trust me, I was in radio for a long time. I'm going to tell you something. Salespeople sometimes will try to sell you something that's really not the best thing for you when it comes to advertising. I saw this all the time, and it got me so mad when we would have advertisers who I knew we couldn't help. Because you have to know your audience, you know? So, I'm trying to think of an example, but I think you don't need an example. I think you know what I'm talking about. So if you're trying to sell art, you're probably wasting your money. Unless you're having an art auction like the church is doing, that's different. Because then people are going to show up because it's an auction, you know, and they're thinking, well, I can get a piece of art, make it a nice gift. And you know, the thing with selling cards at the auction is everybody loves cards, and hand-painted cards are a big hit. Nobody's going to pay a lot for them, but like the reason I'm doing 200 cards is because I figure with 200 cards they probably could raise $1,000 or more, because that would be $5 a card, and I think people will pay $5 a card. It's way too low for a piece of art, but that's the reality. That's what people will pay. But like I say, some people will actually go really high. I've never had a $1,000 card, but I have had a $60 card, and I've had a $45 card. So, just some thoughts. There, I think I'm done. All right, let's fold it now and make a card out of it. So the yellow dots for gouache, they're still wet, but I think I can fold it. Ooh, the back of the card's still wet too. It's okay, it's not soaking wet. All right. There's my card. 192. That's a nice trail. You want to walk down that trail and just get a breath of fresh air. All right, kids. Thank you for watching. Thank you for the kind comments. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.